Hello. hmm So today, hopefully, I want to get this inside of Unity. So just prepare everything. I don't think we'll ever see these light bulbs or like broken or anything like that. Well, they'll be broken, but I don't think they'll be on the floor. Maybe. So I'm not sure if I should give them thickness or not. Actually. They've got thickness. Excuse-moi. Yeah. I think I'll give them some thickness just in case. Solidify. That's terrible. Let's do it manually. Screw Alt S. Probably goes through no bevels. But do I really need a subdivision modifier on there? Probably not. No, don't need that. We already have 12 vertices there. So we could just mark these edges sharp in this particular case. There's no need to be making normal maps and things for this. So anyway, what I want to do is start connecting parts. So I want this to stay on its own. Maybe I'll keep that on its own. This is going to be a part of the hang thing. So I might make all of this a part of this. So before I move on, I'm just going to create a new collection first. I'm just going to duplicate everything and put that in that new collection and hide it for now. And I need to append something like high HP for high poly. Not really append, it's not the right name for it. Not the right word. God damn. HP. HP. This is for when we get to the baking later. I'll be merging them anyway. I'll just do that for now. Doing really a high poly version of these. Yeah, I don't need another collection actually. I can just delete that because I already have it in the low poly collection. And if I want the high poly, if I want them, I'll just duplicate them from there. So these are all the low polys. So I could use the battery namer, but I can't be bothered. Okay. So they're all renamed. Meshes are all renamed. Cool. Now, what do I want to be connected to what? I want these to be separate objects. So I can apply this mirror. And then separate it by loose parts. And then we'll set the origin to geometry. And I'll use some empties as placeholders. 0.2, maybe even 0.1 for this case. No, I do need a new collection. This is just to save the position of the copies, so I don't have to, like, it's just going to be easier to position things in Unity. So I can say like up placeholder. Don't really matter if it's front, back, left, right. Just call it right for now. Duplicate that. Move it over here. Give it the opposite name. Right. Now we can delete this cap because it's going to be this cap but copied. We'll do a similar thing for this. So we'll figure out this location for this in a little bit later. But we'll do that. We'll just paste that there. Light clamp, light casing, light cap, light cap. Oh yeah, of course. Copy, paste, put L and R as well for these. I'll just duplicate this and negate the y-axis. Call that .r, or not .r, just R at the end. I'll leave that there for now because we need that. I think this will be the parent object. So copy that, position this here, call this the root, and I can just get all these and make them children of that. Cool. So that's been done, that's been done, that's been done. These, I want to apply these mirrors. And these are going to be a part of the actual light. So these, I don't like to apply this stuff, but I kind of need to. Well, yeah. Yeah, I just want to apply this actually. And probably the solidify modifier because actually they also don't need the high poly version. I don't need duplicates everywhere either, so I can delete those vertices. That is level 2, which is, well, you do want that for that. So I'm going to delete that. Apply the solidify. join these, but I don't want to apply the bevel and the subsurf to this. I mean, it's okay applying the subsurf to that, actually, because it's a high poly. It's not going to be in the final game. It's just going to have the baking. So maybe I will bring back the light bulb. No, actually, never mind. Because I can keep this as one object. So I'll just apply that. Join that. And now we can mirror this on the Y. The thing is, I can either have the bulb as one piece like this, or I can separate it. No. Probably more efficient to do it in that order, isn't it? Yeah, I think I'll just make 2 variations then. So I will take the bulb. I'll get rid of that mirror, or not. I'll just apply only on the y-axis. And I will join this with this. And as before, I will have to because I've got subsurf modifier now again. And I've got this mirror, so I need to put that there now. Put the clipping on. And we might as well get rid of the sharps. And give this a very basic bevel. Maybe like this instead. Mainly just for the shading. Go away. The most pointless button ever created. The Windows button. Right. So that's its own thing, that's its own thing, that's its own thing. This is one thing. I can just rename that to just light bulb. HP. And I might make a broken variant. One that's already broken. And this one which is not broken. Might make more sense like that. Because we don't want too many objects. Too many separate objects. But I'll just want to bring this back for a second because I need its location. So I'll duplicate this, set it to this thing's position. Just make sure this is. Oh, what happened to that? That's the mirror modifier. Okay. In that case, we'll set it manually. Origin to 3D cursor. Right. Put this to this. It seems like things are centered already, which is annoying. Oh no, that's right, yeah, because that's the right. Anyway, light bulb. No. Placeholder. It's called root. I've got to put the word placeholder in front of them all. That one's got it. That one's got it. That one don't got it. Like that. Okay. And this is right, not left. And then I think that's already a child of that, yeah. So we can duplicate that. I shouldn't have moved it. Duplicate that and negate the X and call it L. Cool. And I'm going to keep this separate as well for now, because it's good for the baking process. But I can apply that mirror. To be fair, I could apply this mirror as well. Keep them though. I don't normally like to apply bevels if I can help it. In fact, I could have kept that bevel modifier because this doesn't use it. I'm not using the edge weights or whatever, the bevel weights. But these, I think I want it. I mean, it doesn't actually matter exactly where the origin is. That's the whole point of the placeholders. Put that there. Copy this name. Not the root. This one. Like of a placeholder. Right. So they're all relatively in the correct place. That's for all the parts. So we have this. And this is the root of everything, and it will be the same arrangement with everything actually. So this and this, actually I can just set that up in unit, it's not really an issue. And I'll be able to duplicate this in Unity and just snap it to the empty that I created, the placeholder. But that's one piece. This is one piece. That's going to be connected to the hanging thing. So that'll be one piece. And I can adjust them then. I can slide this across. So like I say, once I've got this positioning correct, I can then set this properly on both sides. Yeah. So the placeholders are set correctly, which is this one. Alright, yeah. So I'll just select all of them, make sure they're in that collection. Hide that. We don't need that no more. Unhide everything else. So we have one of everything that we need, and that can be baked in that way, and then we can reuse those textures for both sides. But we need to do the same thing for this low poly now. Normally I don't start joining stuff this early, to be honest, until after I've done the texturing process, because a lot of this stuff can be, if they're separate objects, it's easier to explode the mesh, or like use the names instead, like high poly and low poly naming convention. So anyway, I'm going to now import this thing, and just like I've got this as separate, I'm going to have the same thing with the lights. So I'm going to reuse that part and position it correctly. I'm not sure why I've kept this separate actually, because that could be a part of the sign. But anyway, for now, this is what I'm going to do. So I need to append this into that project and just line it up really. And once it's lined up, I can basically, because I'm going to line it up using this. So main room ceiling in structures. I need to append that. So I'll create a new collection for references. Make sure it's selected, save, append, mart, sources, models, structures. objects. Where is the ceiling? Main room ceiling. Append. Cool. The main thing is that these are just relatively spaced correctly. So I need a clip that connects here and comes straight down to this. And it's mostly just getting it correct on the y-axis. So I've appended that, and now I need to append honey. Yeah, there we go. I think it was this one I was using. Yeah. So yes. Basically, I just need probably what'll make it easier is to just put a loop cut there and make sure it's centered global x0. Could even do that. And then, because that's set perfectly there, so we can do this, and we can snap this to the cursor like that. And we can do the same thing on this side. Right, and they're properly set up now. So I can just move this down enough that it's going to intersect with this clamp here. And then I can pull this back. And we need to get it to line up to this. So to cheat, actually we don't need to line that up at all. What we want to do is make it so that this specific tile lines up with the center of this. So an easy thing I can do for that is I can just steal what I need, separate them, and then I can delete the rest of that. And I want to just set the origin probably to the geometry, but just to make sure I'm going to set it to the face, to this face, so it's properly lined up. And then I'll make these children of this, and then I can just set this to the 0, all that out. changing the wrong number. Whatever. So these are lined up. So now I can just line this up on the y-axis to match that. That's because I've got both collections active. I only need one. And to be fair, I probably can just copy this and put that here. Nope, I guess not. That's interesting. Why? Because they're both centered. The origin's centered to this object. Unless it's local coordinates. So I guess I'll unparent that and keep transform. That's what it is. And at this point I don't really need that. So now I can copy this and put it on this. Should be correct. Yeah. Cool. Now these line up, so I don't need these things no more. Well, I do actually need that for a second. I need to get my placeholders back. And I just need to set this one to here. And I've already got one there. Never mind. Get rid of that. And basically I just need to update this to make sure that this is lined up with this. And then this one and this one need to be the same but inverted on the y-axis. And yeah, I need another one of these, again inverted on the y-axis. And now I can delete this because we have our placeholders now for them. Yep. And at this point, because now I know I could join them and delete those placeholders, to be fair. But for now, I'm going to keep them separate for the sake of texture baking. So yeah, I'll temporarily have this as a separate object until I've finished with the baking process. But then eventually this will be merged with this. And same probably for the other clamp with the ceiling sign. The screen just went really bright all of a sudden for some reason. Anyway, so now we can just rename these things. I'll just call it something like Hannah placeholder for now. And that is empty, so we can delete that. Cool. So we have our placeholders. We've got the casing is going to be the parent. The cover, the light. I have two of those lights, don't I? have this and this. Yeah, that's one thing, and that's one thing, and I could make holes in here for the pins to go in, but I could also texture them in Substance Painter as well. So I think that's it for the setup. We just need to imitate that with the low poly stuff. So these do have the modifiers, so we can that's still got the sharp edges on it, which is probably fine for the low poly. So I'll keep that like that. I'll apply that and get rid of this pointless loop here. For the connectors, we only need to mirror the Y again. I believe that's what I did. Yeah. So apply that, apply the solidify, don't need the bevel, don't need the subdivision, but we will need to mark sharps. So what we'll do is we will select by the bevel weights, and then we'll just mark sharps from them and then clear the bevel weights. That's as simple as that. And we'll merge that to the bulb, join that. It's weird because in this hierarchy the selection order is the opposite to what it is in the 3D viewer. But anyway, so the prongs, I have no idea what these mirror modifiers are doing actually. That's weird. It's probably because the high poly is there, that's why. No? X-axis. Ah. Yeah, you can't tell because it's on top of itself. So that is pointless. I've got two x-axes. That's very weird. That is very weird. Why do I have two with x-axes? Don't remember doing that. But we can apply that anyway. And merge that to the bulb. So this is going to be very, very rough looking. I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be on the y-axis, that mirror. So actually, I'll bring that back for a second. I'll switch that to the waxes. It needs a object reference. Maybe I was undoing and redoing a lot of stuff and missed something. That's better, that makes more sense. So we'll apply them. And then we'll join that to this. Cool. For the sakes of this as well, it does look quite low poly. Depends how close you're looking at it, I suppose, but these are very high poly compared to the rest of it, which is unnecessary, so I'm just going to merge some of this stuff, which I should have done before applying the mirror modifier. I do things backwards sometimes. So, again, do this. Do that. Snap on your own edge center. What about scale? Scale to the cursor from the active. Find it. Scale shift Y. No, from the cursor. Active. There we go. Then we can adjust this threshold. It's better. No. Down. Yeah. Cursor to selected. Scale shift Y to there. Slide these up. I think I went the wrong direction with that. Cool. But I think now we're gonna have to add some sharps again. probably don't need these either. It's a waste of geometry there. Got rid of my sharps for some reason. Control E, mark sharp. Make sure there's no doubles. These shading artifacts will be fixed once we bake things. Okay. Almost been streaming an hour already. But anyway, we've got light bulb, and light cap, light casing, light clamp, light cover. Cool. They're not lined up, because I moved them earlier, so I'll just line that up. And same thing, just apply that. So yeah, I went through the bulb, these, the same thing. I think I'll have at least a level 1 on that, but I don't really want to apply the bevels. They'll look terrible without them. That's the problem with the subsurf. Curves everything. And I don't know if I use the crease weights, it might help, but if I remove this and do edge creases instead, it's not as good as with the bevels. The bevels are better. But I don't want that in my low poly. Anyway, I'm not going through this process yet. Baking high poly to low poly, so I can ignore this low poly at the moment, to be fair. Okay, I can apply whatever I need to apply at the moment. I'll leave these as they are for now, because I won't be using these models yet anyway. I'll just use the high polys for now. Yeah. So I can export this into the actual project. Into the models. I think I put it under structures, even though it's not really a structure, but I'll put it as a static mesh. Hanging ceiling light. placeholders. Export that. Then we can hide them. And select all this. Export this. With the same settings. Without the placeholder part. Yep. Override that. Cool. Now we can see what it's like in Unity. Set that up in Unity. So I'm just going to load Unity up for now. While I'm at it, I'll check how the stream's going. All is good so far. So, launching Unity. So, here we are in Unity. Check our imports, structures. So we should have the placeholders. I think I set up some things for, yep. So we'll use that and apply that. Some presets set up for that. And hanging ceiling light. Same thing. Apply that. Cool. Unity's so slow these days. So with these pieces anyway, I'm gonna set up a prefab first and then just start placing these lights around, and then I can delete the placeholder asset once I've created the prefab. I'm just using that for the position of all the different parts. So they're temporary, those empties anyway. Aye. God, so slow. It's taking longer than usual. Okay, so I think I'll take a 5 minute break while this is doing this. So see you soon. I can just leave the screen on for now. Hello. So, I just made a drink. Let's carry on. So, yes, I was going to take these hanging lights. So, I'll start with pulling these out. And these are the placeholders. Just reset this. Yeah. I'll just move it out of there for now. I can focus on it. And the same, I'll make this a nice round number to make it easier. Do the same for this. Reset that. -12. So these have the same position. And I have all these parts now. On top of this empty. These empties. So next we need to got the light bulb, clamp the casing. So we just need to just make sure that the placeholders match perfectly. Light cover placeholder. And light cover. Pretty sure I called that root. Maybe I deleted that by accident when I renamed it. Casing. So we have casing and we have the light cover root. Yeah, it looks like we're missing something. Got bulb, cap, casing, clamp, and the cover. But in here we have the cover, clamp, cap, bulb, and the hangers. But there's no casing, which I called root. So I might have to check that. Why is everything gone so small down here? Placeholders. File, export, FBX. Empty, yep. Selected objects. Just see if it changes in here. Unless it's just renamed this. No, I don't think it does that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're equal. But yeah, like I have the hangers. That's why. I'm definitely missing this root here. Never had this problem before. I've got hangers, bulbs, caps, clamps, and cover. Which I have all of these in Unity, but I don't have this. Why don't I have this? Just because I named it root? Maybe. Or like I say, maybe it's treating this as the root. So yeah. So what I want to do anyway, I have the cap, which is set correctly, and I'm gonna have to probably make this a prefab anyway. Before Unity won't let me edit it until it's a prefab, so I just pull this into here. Now it's a prefab. So now I can edit it. Wow. The lighting looks awful in here. Never mind, I'll edit in here and just override it. So anyway, we want to copy the cap. And we want to take the cap holder right. We want to copy this position and paste this position. We'll need to rotate it, of course, 180. Cool. Yeah. So it won't let me delete anything in here because I'd have to make a prefab for that as well. So, but anyway, I'm just going to rename them to be the same. For the bulb, to be fair, I could do the same as what I did in Blender and just duplicate that and negate the x-axis. So we have, yeah, we have both bulbs, both caps, we've got the lighting casing, we have one clamp, could do the same with a clamp, duplicate the clamp, invert the Y, no, not the Y, sorry, the Z in here. Yeah, so I didn't really need to make those placeholders actually. And the light cover, cool. Now I can delete this. No, actually, I still need the hanger stuff. We'll do that next. subscene. So where is this ceiling Hannah thing? Probably not in here. We need to find it. This object here, somewhere in here. So we can. No, we'll delete that soon. But first, we need to get ceiling clip, maybe. No, not the clip. It's the ceiling sign. Oh, maybe it is the clip. Let's just see what it looks like. It's been a long time since I've used these things. So I need to take this. So I didn't need the placeholders for these things more than anything, really. But I will paste that. It needs to be in local space. So I need to make this a child of this first, probably. And then copy it in local space, or paste it in local space. Yeah, there we go. That's correct. And then I can probably just duplicate that and negate the Z again. Well, I'm pretty sure that was 0.6. Yep. Cool. Put that to 0.6. Nice. So that's all set up. So we can delete this now. And we can organize this better. So I want the casing to be So we'll unpack it first, as it says. Unpack. Or even unpack completely. And now we can rearrange it how we need to. So actually, to be fair, everything's a child of this, so everything's good. So, but I'm still gonna, yeah, still gonna organize it to look nice and tidy. Nice. So if we reset this now, we can make a prefab out of it. And I think this is different. Yeah, this is the old one. So I'll get rid of that one. We'll use this one. If I pull this out, yep, everything's correct. 2 caps, 2 bulbs, covering casing and all that. Excellent. Cool, so now we can start positioning these around. So I'm going to take the height of this sign. It's so hard to select stuff in here. Ceiling clip. The height is apparently negative. See if that works. Because it's relative to the main ceiling, that's why. So yeah, we can just copy this for now. And we can make this a child of the main room ceiling. And set this height. What the hell? What the? That did not work for some reason. Because the origin point's here. The origin point's here and not up there. Where's the origin point on these things? Yeah, the origin point's up here. Never mind, we can just eyeball it anyway. It's not really a problem. Just a bit of a perfectionist sometimes. When I don't need to be. The main thing is just to get the height right for now. I don't know if you can move slowly like you can in Blender, which is kind of annoying. That looks fairly close. We just need to center it now a bit better. It's going to be a bit tricky. Something like that. Cool. Do I have overrides? No. Good. Cool. So now we can just place these lights. I have interior lights already, so I can probably just take their coordinates as well. Maybe. See how that goes. Take that thing. See where that goes. Nope. Yeah. Never mind. I need to get world positions. It's alright. I can just hand place them all anyway. I just need to know roughly where these lights are. Yeah, there's one there. Number 6. So I can match that up. Should be fairly easy at this point. Let's create some more room. Yeah. I can readjust these anyway. I think the light will look better here. But I can't remember how far apart these tiles are, so I'll just eyeball it. I did have them actually properly spaced out, but in reality nothing's exact anyway. So those small discrepancies might make it look more natural. So yeah, we have that there, and we have one over there. So I'll duplicate that again, move it over here. Was that number 7? Yeah. I'll be readjusting these. This is exactly why I wanted to set it up like this, look. Because now I can just slide this across here and it'll line up nicely. So I'm trying to just roughly center it to the aisle. It doesn't have to be exact. Pretty close. Could probably make it a nice rounded number. And then I can just reuse that all the way down here. So the next light is gonna be probably somewhere. It could be straight over the counter, or where did I put that in here? Yeah. But maybe this is good. It's already getting a little bit more character already just from this. Just from adding some lights. These have already got materials, so I just need to add some materials to these and override them. But I'll do that once I've finished positioning everything. So yeah. Again, make this a nice rounded number. Maybe 2.8. Cool. Now I can select these 3. So I didn't even really need to do that actually, did I? But duplicate and shift over. And just obviously position it just somewhere where it can fit. Because we've got an air conditioner here, so that's a bit of an issue. Because we've got this sign here, but I could remove that sign if I need to as well. That's not a problem. Or move it further down. So I think, where did I put these last lights? They're in a different room. Maybe. Yeah. So just rearrange these. 3 to 5 is what I need. So I think it was, yeah, somewhere around here. So I'll just line this up to here, roughly again. yeah. So I think these are pretty well lined up actually with the lights that were already there. I don't know where that one is because obviously this is a totally different room, so we don't actually need this light. So we can delete that one. But they're in good positions. So 1 and 2 and then 3, 4 and 5. Yeah. See, there's nothing there. So we can put something there. We can put a light there, so from here to here. Duplicate. Move over. Somewhere around here. So about here. I don't like using these handles. Blender is a lot better. You can just, for manipulating things anyway, you can just press G or R or S and just move things. You don't need to zoom all the way out to find a handle, because you can't fine tune like close up, which is annoying in my opinion. We just put these at the bottom of this list. Cool. So we have light 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 5, which are all across here. See, this is where it's a problem. I have a light here in my scene, but that doesn't work there because of the conditioner. So as I said, I might have to slightly adjust things. I might have to slightly move these two signs. I could move them back to here and put the lights there instead. That would make more sense. Then we're not hitting that conditioner. I know there's nothing really interesting going on at the moment. I'm just basic modeling and positioning. That's all making environments is all about anyway, to be honest. Really is that simple. The most complicated part will be optimizing the rendering. So where are we? Kind of done this backwards. But it's alright, they're only names anyway. It's this one I need really, because this is the one that's conflicting with the air conditioner. So yeah, just move this a little bit. just adjust it again. Here, it's a lot easier. Yeah. See, so I've just slightly moved those signs back and stuck some more lights in between. And that's in the wrong room again. We don't need it. Delete that. And I'm probably going to put one just after here, so I'll have to move these signs as well. So I'll have some lights coming from here to here. Then that's probably enough lights for this room. So what lights are these? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I will copy them, shift them over, and we want these about here. So there is a bit of inconsistency with the positioning, but to be fair, I could probably put another light here maybe, but because there's 2 panels there, then there's a light, there's two panels there and there's a light, so I could put, yeah, we'll see. I'm going to move these signs in a second. This usually works well with a 4 for some reason at the end of it. Cool. So we have more lights now. Let's just shift these back a little bit, or forward. Forward would be better actually. Yeah. It's probably going to be landing on a 4 again. Seems to be the pattern. Cool. So I don't know about the order of these things, but light 1 is here. That's number 2. That's number 3. That's way back there, at the very back, so that should be. Then it's number 7, 8, 9, that's correct. And then 5. 4. Too far away. 3. Yeah. Of course. 3, 4. At the very back. 5, 6. Reverse order pretty much. 7, 9. Anyway, so now we have lights in the scene. And we can just simply override them with materials. Just see how they look in play mode. Cool. So, yep. Lights there, some lights there. I'm wondering if I could, because they seem pretty close. I don't think lights are that frequent in shops, so I probably could just put them a little further back and then just skip this one completely where the conditioner is. But then it would be pretty dark though. But anyway, it's nice to have the lights in here now. We can see, but they need to be updated with the lighting. Need to update the light maps and the light probes, so the signs and the lights fit in with everything else. But yeah, so we have, like, down this aisle, I think they could be better centered, those lights. So I'll recenter the lights down here just a little bit, but spacing wise there's a bit of a gap there, but besides that, like, I could probably move this over one tile and then it'd be a bit better spacing. This is pretty well centered and the frequency is pretty good, just because the air conditioner breaks it up anyway, so I think that's pretty good. This aisle's good. I'm not sure about the ceiling signs just yet. Maybe they're alright actually in there as well. But these definitely need more centered, to be more centered in the aisle. This, I mean, I don't know. I think they're probably alright as they are. But I might put that one further back. Just one. Put that one further back. And put this one further back by one tile. And I might put an extra sign on this aisle in the middle. Or instead of moving this light, I probably could just add that extra sign in between and then it'll break that up a little bit. Yeah, but that definitely needs more centering. Or centering a little better. I might move that back. So yeah, do that. So this one, I'm just gonna shift this one back to here. Strangely, putting that to 4 at the end seems to work every time. So So that's that. Nope. All these. 1, 2. What's the... Is it? Yeah. Do this. It's easier, kind of. Just select all these. I've got all them down there. Just center this a little better. To be fair, I probably could have just minus 3.6. Yeah, there we go. And then this, duplicate one of them. Put that in between here somewhere. Yeah, something like this. Just put this at 4 again. It's probably going to work for some reason. Oh no, too many decimal numbers. Maybe just leave it at 2. 2, 4. I guess it's fine. Yeah. I don't like these clone numbers either. I don't know if there's a way to rename them all really quickly, rather than doing like this. It would be nice if it just didn't do that. What can you do? It's the same with the lights. Just gonna save all these area lights, but I think I'll be replacing these anyway because I don't think area lights are going to be the best option for dynamic lighting. Like maybe some of them can stay area lights, but I think I'll probably end up switching to either point lights or spotlights. Because some of them I want to flick. I want the light flickering to happen. So let's just also just edit the materials. What materials do I have? Let's see. So metal, orange and blue, metal. See what that's like. Yeah, something like this probably. For this. Nice and shiny. These are just placeholder materials. Everything will be getting replaced at some point. But if I override this now, it should apply to them all. Yep. So I'll have that. For that. For these, I've got a few different painted metal looks. Some plastic as well. That's very bright. Probably that. Is that applying to both sides? Make it more obvious. Make it blue. Orange even. No, it's not. So I do have these other metals actually. Yeah, it's a bit more raw. I didn't see them up there. That might be better for this. So not that one, that's like a bronzy looking one. Yeah. Something like this. Or this. For that, and for these I probably do want the painted metal. Yeah, man. Looks really bright on that side, but it's probably just because of the lighting. I just need to temporarily hide that so I can see these things inside. Yeah, I forgot about that. These will need submeshing before I can put emission on it and stuff. But they probably would want some metal, very strange shading as well. I'll fix that later. Plastic for it maybe for now. Nope. Plastic 2. Yeah, I'll probably just put plastic on these for now. Probably the same for this. Like a light that's turned off. Probably. And for this clip as well. That's a separate thing in it still. One of these metals. Yeah. No, metal 4 will be good for that. Cool. Override all that. So it applies to everybody. Now it's generally pretty dark, so I think these caps might be too bright. So I've got painted metals, that's too bright. I could go with this. I could go with some of the plastics. No. I think for now no. Put it back to that one. That's good enough, I think. So make sure it applies to everybody. And that's that. Save. Find my character. And give it a little play test again. yeah, so I think it's adding a little bit more depth and detail to it. So, like, these are temporary materials, like I said. So, you know, once I start the properly texturing everything, these will be properly like high poly to low poly, UV unwrapped and textured and baked, and with normal maps and whatever they need and stuff, and emission maps, and they'll fit into the scene a lot better once I bake the lighting again. And I'll probably assign these to the adaptive light probes, because I'm probably going to have them dynamic anyway, because they're going to swing a bit because of the wind coming through. So these will be dynamic. The lights and the signs, they'll be swinging around anyway. Still need to fix this, but that's a part of the light map baking issue. I think I mentioned before, but I probably just put the light map resolution too low, and that's probably why that's bleeding through like that. And this aliasing, like I said, I'll turn that into a texture and let the bitmaps deal with this aliasing problem until you get close enough. Like I said, this is not going to be a playable scene anyway, maybe. I'm not planning on making it as a game. It's just a portfolio piece, just to show that I can make environments. And the main reason why I'm recording everything is for authenticity. So if anyone claims, oh, it's AI or whatever, we'll go look at my live streams. Simple. I added some roundedness to these corners as well. Just it makes it feel a bit more natural. A bit of softness in the corners. And I might even put something like skirting boards or whatever in as well. In some places, maybe not everywhere, but in some places at least. But I think even as it is, it looks quite nice. These will look a lot better with the wood textures and whatever, looking a bit dull at the moment. But that's probably as well to do with the volumes, because I've got post processors on that are desaturating everything, which is intentional to make it more horrifying. I probably could just close this door as well while I'm here, because I was wondering if I was going to actually model a bathroom in here, but I don't think I will. I think this door's going to be closed and be animating to bang and slam and stuff, like something's trying to escape. So yeah, and yeah, everything in general is going to have a lot more detail once I get into the texturing side of it, of course. But I think overall it's starting to take shape. I like to say I'm leaving the back rooms and things for now. I'm gonna take this room to the final stage, or 80%, and then I'll go to those other rooms and do the same process. It's gonna be a bit slow, just because I'm only streaming 1 day a week at the moment, and I'm working on other projects and collaborating with other people, working on other games, so I don't really have the time to put more into the streaming at the moment. But I do plan on doing that eventually. Like once those projects are finished, I plan on doing at least 3 days a week. But anyway, I think the next thing, before I get into light map baking and adaptive probes and all that, again, I'm gonna next, I think, model some stuff for the counters, like the scanners, the tills, the card machines, all that type of stuff. just to fill this area out a little bit more. And I could probably make some tin cans very quickly and simply, like tinned food and boxes for cereal and things like that, but they're very small things. I don't know if they're that necessary. Maybe I need to think really what I need to put next. Like, because there's a lot of small objects, to be fair, that even like sensors and cameras and fire alarms, you know, all that kind of stuff. Even floor signs and things you could have around. So what would take this to the next level would be obviously texturing what I already have and putting decals around, because these are what I have right now. These are the biggest objects in the whole scene in this particular room. Like, I'm gonna have manual handling stuff as well. I might have like I don't know I've forgotten what they're called now. You know, like a pump truck in here for moving pallets and stuff, but maybe not necessary for this. It's a small store. Everything's probably going to be in cages, being dragged around by hand. So there will be cages probably in here, and some, maybe a couple of pallets lying around like against the wall and stuff. But like I say, that's for a different room. For this room, I need to, let's just have a look at the references actually. What do I have in PRFs? Let's see what big objects we can make. See, the most of them are small, like these little shelves and these hooks. They're tiny objects. And the monitor and the card machines and sensors and whatever, tills, they're all small objects. So I've already got quite a lot of the stuff, really, the bigger stuff. Like I said, there's stuff like this that might be in the back room. I need like a sensor for the door, but when I go through the process of actually texturing the door, I can add those extra details, because I need to put like the rubber seals and things anyway for where the glass intersects. But when you look, most of the stuff in the store is, without all the products, it would look quite empty. Even actually, I was gonna put like a speaker as well, or a tannoy. But still, it's not a massive task. I can't actually see anything that's like really big. Mostly it's just products and decals and things, so yeah. I've made all the biggest stuff really so far. Let's have a look what it looks like through the different cameras. Yeah, it adds more depth straight away. Just having the signs and the lights. So yeah, I think I'll just model what needs to go on the counter next, and then I'll just start taking everything to the finish line, like high poly to low poly, unwrapping, texturing everything, creating. I won't bother with LODs yet. I'll do that later. I'll just do LOD zeros for everything at the moment. It looks way more filled out already. So I think that's what I'll do next. These are the other rooms, so we don't need to look at them. Yeah, like it already looks quite filled out already. It's missing detail now, that's all. There's enough in this room, like, and I don't see the point in making products like packaging and stuff without texture, because they're quite plain and simple without it. It's just cubes. Like for a cereal box, it's just a cube. So yeah, I will just make what's on the counter, and then I'll take everything I've got in this room to the finished level, like production quality, and then I'll make a few products, like some tinned food and some cereal boxes and things like that, whatever. And then I can get on with like decals and, you know, putting blood smears around and all that, and start actually giving it character. That's when it's going to start really taking shape, when I start doing all that stuff. When I actually take all these things to production level, and everything's all textured, and I start putting decals around and start like just messing things up, and then bake all the lighting and do all the lighting and all the, like with the light probes and the light maps, and just putting tiny details around, it's gonna start having a lot of character at that point. It's gonna start looking good, and I want to just do that. That's the next goal. And then this room will look pretty good at that point. It will still won't be finished. I'll have to make things dynamic. I'll start animating things and, you know, getting the wind effect and all that. Then it'll look really nice and dynamic. Like when the lights start flickering and all that, it's gonna start looking really good at that point. So, but yeah, I think the next task I'll just spend more time on the actual counter, modeling everything on the counter, and then we can move on. So I think I will leave it here for now, for today, and I'll probably be back next week on Wednesday at the same time, and we will get on with modeling the scanners and the monitor and, you know, all the countertop stuff and little shelves and things like that. We'll do that next. We'll start that next week on the next stream, and then after that, like I say, I'll take all these bigger pieces of furniture and structures, and I'll just take them to production level, and then we can get into the decals and animating this scene and baking the lighting and all that. I might show a quick pass of how I do the light map baking and just to show the setup and everything, but I'll do it at a lower resolution, just so you can see the process, because I have to do some sort of trick as well, where when I'm trying to bake the reflections, so the reflection probes, when you bake them, they don't seem to take into account the adaptive light probes in this version of Unity, at least. I don't know if it's a bug for this version, but I found a workaround anyway. I just set everything to light map, and I just bake everything at a lower resolution, and then I switch everything that needs to be adaptive light probe back to light probe, and rebake the light probes, and then rebake the light maps to the things that are at a higher quality. So anyway, I'll go through that process later in the in the streams. I'll show it at least once, but the rest of the time I'm pretty much just gonna be doing all the light map baking and stuff off of stream, because it's gonna take too long. It can take hours just to do it, at high quality. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for today. So until next time, goodbye.